So I'm here with Stevie Artroit. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Where are you from?
Well, I'm actually born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. I lived here for predominantly like 18 till I was like 17, 18. And then I actually moved to or went to college for a short period in South Carolina and then actually moved out to Texas and lived there for 5 years and actually just recently moved back like 3 years ago. So, but born and raised, Duval County, baby.
Duval. So how
Duval.
did so how did you end up going to Texas from South Carolina?
Yeah, so I actually went to a very conservative um, college, Bob Jones University, if you know of it. Very anti-gay, very Southern Baptist. But my dad actually moved out to Texas. His partner at the time and him had a business,
Uh-huh.
and I moved out there to kind of help them run everyday functions, do like some, he was actually raising alpacas and llamas. So I was kind of out there to low key start my life away from kind of that lifestyle of the Southern Baptist. And then I was kind of brought on to like as a farmhand, but then I low key just started my everyday life out there.
So when you said your dad's partner,
Yeah, my dad is Tony Tyndall, and he's gay.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
pretty cool, I guess.
what were you like as a child?
Oh, very flamboyant, very out loud, always bubbly, always the one picked on for being like feminine, very outspoken, very that girl.
And did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I actually have two twin sisters, stepsisters, and then I have an older brother, and then I also have a younger brother.
So when you came out, I'm sure your dad was okay with it, but when you came out, how was the rest of your family?
Well, it's a touchy subject when it comes to my family. I never really quote unquote like don't want to say like I never had my coming out moment. I just like low key chose to live like how I want to live, and being gay is just a part of that. My mom's side of the family didn't take it well, but we also it's kind of a really weird scenario that I find myself in sometimes with my parents. My parents are, of course, are religious. So from the standpoint of them, like homosexuality is wrong. But at the same time, my mom, knows that I'm her child. We just choose not to talk about the homosexuality, which for a long time was like, I was like, oh, I have to be respectful of my mom. But now I've been in a committed relationship for now almost 2 years. And like, I've chosen that like, it's not a respect thing. It's more of me respecting myself.
Correct, and being you.
Yeah, like it's I don't mean anything ill will against my mom or my parents or anything, but like I'm not going to be at the end of the day, I'm not going to go live that lifestyle and be put in such a terrible mental place, which I was at when I was kind of stuck in that environment. And now I'm out here living my best life. Like I'm just not going to go do that. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
I understand. I mean, that's kind of like I'm from Tennessee, from
Mm-hmm.
a little bit right outside of Chattanooga, and that's kind of how it was with my family. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
moved away, my mom didn't really like that I moved away, but she
Mm-hmm.
said that she knew that I had to move away to be happy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and like for a long time, it was a touchy subject with me leaving Bob Jones to go to Texas to live with my dad. Of course, with my dad being gay and my parents being religious, they were worried that like what would happen to me. You know, I would fall away, quote unquote, from the church, blah blah blah. But yet, like I've been gay since I was like, I can remember I've always liked boys, and like I literally quote unquote got in trouble for kissing a boy in kindergarten.
I think that's one of the things that they think about. A lot of people think, oh, just because you're gay, that you can't be religious or believe in God
Right.
or anything like that. I think that people have that perception, especially if I'm not really sheltered themselves, I guess, as children or something.
Hmm. Well, I know at the end of the day that, and my mom and I have had some pretty good conversations in the past. Like, it's a better relationship than it was, I would say, 3 years ago when I was living in Texas. like I know at the end of the day, my parents love and care for me. It's just, I'm not gonna listen to them tell me that, oh, I'm living in sin because I'm gay, or that I'm living with a man, when I'm like, this is what I'm not doing anything. I'm not choosing this. Like I love who I love, and I'm not gonna back down from
that. That is understandable. So what did you want to be as a child?
As a kid, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to go to medical school, and I was actually very, very intrigued, and I'm still very intrigued with like psychology and why people work the way they work.
And what did you take when you were in college? What was your major?
When I was at Bob Jones, the Christian University, it was called quote unquote biblical counseling. I only did like a year and a half there, and that didn't end well. So I actually started taking classes in Texas, and I was taking like basic courses, math, science, Englishes, chemistries. I also had a lot of psych classes as well.
And did you have any role models?
I mean, I find role models everywhere. While I was in school, I definitely was very close to one of my best friends in Texas. Her name was Cheyenne. And then I also had another really good friend, Evan. I was really close with their family, and especially like her mom was like there when I really needed her. And like, I found a lot of role models in Texas. Predominantly, they're always strong women.
So tell me about the first time that you did drag.
Oh my God. It was, when was that? I want to say 2015, 2016 that I quote unquote first put myself in drag. I went out in a shake and go Halloween black wig. I didn't really shave that well. I didn't have any sort of body. I wore like booty shorts that I had Halloween red tights wearing. And then I had like knee-high, like cowboy rider boots. So like not even a heel, looking busted as hell, but I was living my fantasy, baby. Oh, no, I did it myself the very first time. I mean...
So what about your first time doing drag on stage?
I mean, that was so wonderful. I did it at my very first time in drag. I was in Texas. I was at a club called South Beach, Houston. They had these amateur competitions which Houston is such a big city. They have like three or four like gay bars, really super kind of compact in the same area. And South Beach was like, I would say like what Metro is, but if Metro was on like steroids. So very big dancing. And then I think it was Thursday nights they had. I went out wearing some, I believe it was Forever 21 or maybe Target, some like lacy black dress. And I did some Dua Lipa song. And I was living my fantasy, baby.
So how did you get your name?
Well, I actually started drag as Stevie Winters because my favorite season is winter. But then while kind of quote unquote starting drag, because I didn't really settle on a name till after I started performing, I met one of my dearest friends. Her name is Stevie Artroit. She does drag. She was in New York City, but she was also a friend of mine that I met in Houston. She moved to New York to follow her dreams. She lived there for a long time. And like we kind of, I would say like she took me under her wing, but like we started drag at the same time. So it's not like she's my drag mom, but she's like my drag sister. So, and we just have the same name. And that's how I became an Artroit, was I got really drunk one night with my friend Tori, and we FaceTimed my friend Stella, and I was like, you know what, we're all going to be Artroits. We're going to be sickening. We're going to be the best next thing. And mind you, I'm wearing some shake and go wigs, some busted 301s. Probably not even a 301. Probably some wispy lash, thinking I was the next woman, baby.
We want to thank you, our listener, for taking the time to enjoy all our interviews. Please like, subscribe, and share our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Magenta Maven. Also, if you would like to be a guest on our show, please email me at themagentamaven.com. That's MAVAN. Be sure to check out all our past episodes and our new ones that come out every Wednesday. We would also like to hear your comments on the show, and don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast app. It will really help us out. Now let's get back to our show.
Have you entered any pageants since you've been done?
Oh, yes. I actually just recently entered my first pageant, before the world shut down because of Corona. I competed for Miss In Cahoots Newcomer 2020, and it was such a sickening experience. I love In Cahoots because, I work there quite often. And I love the cast there. I love Stacy, Diva, Sophia, Kat Kelly. They have become such a family for me. It was such a blast to get out there, get on that stage, really show and shine and present what I thought Stevie would really present in her first pageant. I didn't win, but you don't win all of them. But it was, especially your first one. I mean, there are some girls who do that because they're sickening. But I definitely made a lot of amateur mistakes, and I got a lot of really good feedback. So the next one that I'm kind of looking forward to, or the next one I really set my eyes on, I'm really going to sit down and kind of focus on those critiques. And it was such a great experience.
Yeah, a lot of people, they think when they receive bad reviews that it's just bad and that's the end. But, you got to take it as
constructive criticism. I mean, at the end of the day, not everyone's going to love what you're presenting. But you also have to realize at the end of the day, I'm also just a man cross-dressing.
So, what first attracted you to drag?
To drag, well, in Houston, I had a lot of friends who were in the drag community. They were just fresh out to start. One of my really good Judies is Rufy Dubois. She is in Houston. She is one of the most sickening girls. She is a newer queen, but she's really taking Houston by storm. And I had a lot of friends just in the Houston community that I looked up to. I became friends with another girl named Petty. We became close friends. And so then I got really interested in just, I'm I see my friends do this. They're sickening, or what I thought was sickening, at that time, because, everyone starts somewhere, But, and then I was I'm going to try this. I really enjoy, theater, and I love, being over the top for no reason. And that was an extension of it.
So what is the best piece of advice that you've received so far?
I would say that don't pick the low-bearing fruit. I have been told this. I was told this by Sindel, who also, I hear it from Corliss Todd all the time. And it just means to me, you don't have to, not everything is worth taking a shot at. So people are always going to come at you with some kind of crazy stuff. And not everyone deserves a response. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everything is worth the drama.
That is some very good advice. I get that a lot from the ones that I do interviews with. So I think that that's something big probably in that community that a lot of people learn when it comes to doing drag.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people are going to be problematic and people are going to be dramatic, and people sometimes just try to test you just to try to test you, but sometimes it's not even worth responding to.
So what is one of your biggest failures, and what did you learn from it?
My biggest failure? Ooh, that is quite the question. I would really say, learning to trust myself. If I was the person I was, or not trust yourself, maybe being scared to be myself. If I was the person I am when I was, say, 13, 14, how different my life would be. The voice I would have to stand up for myself, to make decisions when people kind of put me in these scenarios and I didn't really have a choice. When a fool knows well that I had a choice, I just felt like I didn't have a voice at that time. So I would say that probably.
So what is one common myth about drag that you would want to debunk?
Well, everyone just thinks it's easy. As someone who does, I would say, drag regularly, like, it's not just, for a lot of us, it's not just cross-dressing. It's not just playing dress up. Like, it becomes a way of life. Like, with Corona, everything's shutting down. I'm really hurting for my sisters who rely heavily on drag. Like, I'm lucky enough, I have what I call a boy job. So what Dylan does, I have a job. I mean, they shut down for Corona, but I still had that income coming in. Meanwhile, a lot of people in the community, especially here in Jacksonville, rely so heavily on drag. And I think a big myth, or I hear a lot from like newer girls, is like, oh, this is just a lot of fun. And then this is just not that serious. And I'm like, there are legends in Jacksonville that I've worked alongside. And I'm like, this is not a joke to them. They take this very seriously.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of the game Answer the Internet, but it's got some questions that I really like off of there. So I'm going to ask you a couple of those.
Okay.
You stay over at someone's house, and when you wake up, you realize that you pissed in their bed.
Oh my God.
Do you sneak out or do you tell them?
I honestly would probably tell them, because I would need to know why I pissed the bed. So if we go into the doctor, if maybe I was a little litty titty and like I had too much, sorry girl, I'll clean your sheets, but I'm gonna tell you at the end of the day.
So I'll say one more. So would you rather be the most attractive person in the world but blind, the best singer in the world but deaf, or the best chef in the world but no sense of taste?
So it's either be beautiful, be blind,
be a singer,
sing really fantastic, and be deaf. I would probably go with singing fantastic. I mean, I know sign language, so like I could get away with being deaf. And I mean, I have a mediocre voice, but I have always loved like musical theater. So
do you
I
sing karaoke?
When the occasion arises. I've been known to test
What's
the
your
karaoke
go-to song?
machine. Oh, honestly, do you want to know the truth? The last time I did karaoke, I did I'm So Fancy by Iggy Azalea. And just because I could do that rap part, and I took so much time to learn that rap part. My friend made me do it, and I was like, girl, I'll do it for you.
That would be a very hard one.
Now, the quality of it, not real sure how that was.
So I heard that you do a really good Dolly Parton.
Yes. Yes, I love Dolly so much. I actually went to Dolly with Corliss and our friend Mitchell, and it was such a blast. Literally, like, it's so cool because like I looked up to her ever since I was a kid. I always thought she was sickening. You know, her story is fabulous. Like, she's basically a drag queen as a woman, someone who would like stood out on her own, like so beautiful. And as a kid, like I just loved that. And her music was so beautiful. I grew up on that kind of like bluegrassy type of music, old country music, and I just love her so much.
Where can the listeners connect with you online?
Oh, I'm always either on Twitter or Instagram, literally Facebook. I mean, it's 2020. Like, either your phone is in your hand or you're ignoring somebody.
Or you're hiding something.
Yeah. That part. No, but I mean, I'm easily reachable, either probably Instagram or Facebook, whatever, honestly.
So I'm sure during your life that you've experienced some highs and lows. So what lesson or lessons do you wish that you had known earlier in life?
I would say the biggest lesson I learned is something I actually heard from Sandra Todd, who I deeply admire and love. Like, she is literally liquid gold. She is the sweetest, purest person. She told me, it's nice to feel important, but it's more important to be nice. And then sometimes in scenarios that you want to get frustrated, you want to get flustered. And the type of person I am, I get really, really flustered. And like, sometimes you lash out, you react. And I wish sometimes, as an older person as I am now, or I say older, I'm not really that old. I wish I knew that sometimes you choose the decision that is the nicer decision, because the ramifications of that aren't worth what is going to happen. Meaning, if I choose to undercut somebody to make myself look better, it's not worth it.
If you could step into my shoes, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't?
Oh, you want the juicy gossip. I don't really know. I feel like I'm always talking to myself, so I'm always asking myself questions. I would say what inspired you to do what you do? Like, why do you do drag at the end of the day? I'm a performer. I love to get out there. I love to perform. I just feel like I really can connect with people. And I've met a lot of people. I've had a lot of my girlfriends come up and say, you know, I love drag so much because it helps them escape, you know, what they're going through, kind of their mental health. And especially in the time that we live in, like I use my drag to kind of uplift people. But at the same time, I'm really being true to myself and just kind of expressing who I am through Stevie.
Well, thank you very, very much for letting me do this interview with you.
Of course, it was fabulous.